Why'd you guys come out today?
To support life, to tell the Supreme Court that life is important. So I just wanted to let the justices know that we are hoping and praying that they will choose life.
Our rights as people with uteruses are being chipped away on a daily basis. Every single time we come here, we are fighting harder and harder to protect the rights of women and trans women and people in the United States to have access to have body autonomy.
The Supreme Court could be on the verge of rolling back Roe versus Wade after arguments this week in a blockbuster case over a Mississippi law banning abortion after 15 weeks of pregnancy. A lot at stake, so we brought in our experts, senior national correspondent Terry Moran and constitutional law professor Kate Shaw. Good morning to you both. And Terry, I want to start with you because you've been covering this all week. It became very clear very quickly that the conservative justices are poised to uphold the Mississippi law.
Uphold the Mississippi law. And what was so striking about the arguments, Martha, was that you could hear in real time this strong conservative majority on the Supreme Court, 6 justices, discussing not so much whether they should overturn or really gut Roe, Roe versus Wade, but how they should do it. It was really a discussion of how far they will go. And it seemed to me that the weight of the momentum on the conservative side is to go whole hog. It feels to me like in June, America is going to be a very different place for women and reproductive rights.
The weight of the conservative justices, let's talk about that, Kate. They may want to uphold the Mississippi law, but do you think all of them want to overturn Roe? Do they want to go that far?
Martha, I think there's no question they want to uphold the Mississippi law. And I think that 5 of them do seem to want to go further and to overturn Roe rather than to limit the right to abortion that it announced. You know, I don't know that John Roberts, the Chief Justice, is ready to overturn Roe or to cast a vote to do that. But there are 5 more conservative justices than him on the court at this point. So it actually doesn't matter. So I did hear from the oral argument pretty strong signs that 5 of them are ready to go that far and to overturn Roe outright by the end of June.
Kate, were you surprised at how quickly they moved on this?
I was, right? So Amy Coney Barrett has been on the court just over a year, having replaced, of course, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And I guess I thought the court would move more incrementally to limit rather than to overturn Roe with this newly constituted conservative supermajority. But I didn't see any signs of that kind of caution or incrementalism. It sounded as though they know they have the votes to do it, and they are likely to do so. And we should say, Martha, that's a seismic change in American law for over 50 years. This has been a right the Constitution has protected. And it's never really been the case before that the Supreme Court has moved to overturn a case where that prior case announced a right. So essentially to take a right back. The court overturns its precedents relatively routinely, but never really in a case like this.
So, Terry, if it is overturned, what happens in the states?
Well, there are a dozen states and more with laws already on the books and ready to go. Trigger laws that if Roe versus Wade is overturned, they will ban abortion, and there will be more following. No question about it. They'll test the limits if they don't outright overturn Roe. They are lined up to do this. And I think what you'll see is that abortion will be criminalized, not just in many states, but in entire regions of the country. Women will be hundreds of miles, more than hundreds of miles, thousands of miles maybe in some instances, very, very long distance to get access to abortion. And we will have a patchwork of abortion rights, but it'll be more than that. In the South, from South Carolina all the way to Texas and Oklahoma and north up to Wisconsin, which has a trigger law, in the Midwest, abortion will be criminalized.
And Terry, it's surprising because Supreme Court justices are supposedly chosen by presidents because they reflect the values of their constituents. A recent ABC News Washington Post poll says 60% of Americans say the court should uphold Roe v. Wade, and 75% say the decision to have an abortion should be left to the woman and her doctor, not regulated by law.
But this has been the Republican mission since Roe, to appoint Supreme Court justices that would overturn Roe versus Wade. They've tried and tried and tried for decades. The last time there was a majority of justices on the Supreme Court of the United States who had been appointed by Democratic presidents was May 14th, 1969. Republicans have nominated 16 of the 20 justices since then. And some of those Republicans were presidents who did not win majority votes. George Bush in his first term, of course, and Donald Trump. And so this has been a goal of the Republican Party, organized to do it, and they're on the brink of success.
And Kate, I want to turn to that school shooting in Michigan. The accused shooter, Ethan Crumbley, not only charged, but his parents with involuntary manslaughter. That is a very, very rare charge.
Yeah, we really haven't seen charges like this in a case involving a school shooter or a mass shooter. But honestly, from the facts that we know, Martha, we really haven't seen facts like these before. So an involuntary manslaughter charge typically involves some step that, in which there is a death, and in which the individual who took that step or those steps should have known that there was a serious risk of danger that has been created. And based on the facts that we know, there is significant evidence to support such a charge. But again, I think that it's not likely that we would see parents charged in many cases like these. But again, these facts, from what we know at this point, do seem to support that kind of charge.
Terry?
Well, we don't charge parents on all the school shootings we've had for the conduct of their children, in part because it does run counter to our legal tradition. We generally don't hold people criminally responsible for the actions of others, and this prosecutors charge them with responsibility for the killings that their son did on the theory of gross negligence, that they knew or had reason to know that because they purchased him a gun, didn't secure it in the home, which are lawful things under
And the
Michigan law.
texts between the mother and son.
And the text between the mother and son. But remember, that had already, is that beyond a reasonable doubt, what she was saying, that they knew or had reason to know? The school officials let him go back to class. They should have had reason to know, and they didn't. So it does
Although
seem
the school officials are now saying they were saying those drawings were about video games.
Yeah, they said go get counseling in a couple of days. And so it is difficult. This is a new prosecutor who's frustrated that firearms laws in Michigan cannot hold them accountable. And she may have overreached here. We will see the facts come out. They may be very damning. But this is a very unusual charge because it does run counter to the way we generally think of criminal responsibility.
It certainly does. Thanks to Terry. Thanks to Kate.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.